Well, folks, we got an exciting update for Nintendo Switch 2 for you today, and this time it comes from somebody who hasn't spoke up in quite some time. Now, this person is a well-known insider, maybe one of the most reliable ever, but they were dealing with a bout of being sick and all this stuff, and just kind of had to take a break from doing their usual podcast. But they're back. And of course, we're talking about the Nate the Hate podcast, dropping some news for us. Now, we can call this stuff rumors because, again, we can't verify the things that he says. And we have to remember that, hey, he did originally say, like back in February, that it would be revealed in March of this year, only for the internal delay to be announced like a day or two later. So we have to keep that in mind that he was wrong about this year. That being said, it doesn't mean he's been wrong about everything. He was one of the people, actually the main source, saying that the Nintendo Switch 2 would have an 8-inch screen, and that now seems to be verified thanks to these accessory makers that have started to at least advertise their Nintendo Switch 2 accessories. So what did he have to say on this podcast? Because he's dealing with the reveal and release of the Nintendo Switch 2. Well, we have a couple tidbits here. One of them is actually about a Switch game next year that I'm actually pretty excited for, and I think a lot of you guys will be as well. And you know what? I'm not going to be the one to just like read quotes from him. I'm just going to let you hear from the man himself. So before we dive in, I just want to remind you, we're on our road to 140,000 subscribers. So hey, if you're enjoying all this news on Switch 2 and actually a little game news here for Nintendo Switch, all you got to do is subscribe right here for more of that content. All right, guys. So let's just get to the Switch game first, right? This is probably the smaller bit of news, but also the one that is about video games. And it's been a while since we've had like game news on my channel. So, well, it looks like Nintendo Switch is going to get a certain Kirby game next year. Here's what Nate the Hate had to say as a little holiday tease.
And this leads me into giving folks a holiday treat. A game that's one of my personal favorites will be coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2025. And that title is Kirby Planet Robobot.
Ooh, that's a great game.
It's a fantastic game, one of the best 3DS games to ever release.
Yeah, so there you have it. Kirby Planet Robobot coming back. I don't know if it's a remake or a remaster or like an HD port. Obviously, we have no idea. It's got to be at least an HD port because it was a 3DS game. If you remember PH Brazil back in the day, said like a 3DS and a Wii game were going to be coming. I guess this is probably that 3DS game. The Wii game hasn't been announced yet, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I'm pretty excited about Kirby Planet Robobot coming back. It is one of my favorite Kirby games. So to have it come back, look, it's just going to reach a new audience, and I'm pretty excited about that. Now, I know what you all are here for. You want to know, when the hell is Nintendo revealing the Switch 2, and when is it coming out? Well, Nate the Hate had a few things to say on that. One thing I will say, and I'm just not going to put the quote in here for you because he didn't really know, when is it being revealed? He doesn't know. Now, he ventures to guess that it'll happen on or right before the investors meeting, the 9-month investors meeting, which is happening on February 4th. So he said like a 51% chance. But here's the thing. It wasn't from direct knowledge, so that's why I'm not playing any clips, because he's just guessing like all the rest of us, because we know it's going to be revealed by the end of March. Now, what does this have to do with when it's coming out? Well, that is where things get very interesting. First, he had this to say about some industry chatter that seems to line up with a rumor we reported on not too long ago.
As of late September, early October, there's been a lot of industry chatter around the release window of the Switch 2. And that release window in this chatter has been late May to June. So the information that Game Reactor translated from Nintendo, based on the chatter that I have heard, appears to be accurate. Now, there's still plenty of uncertainty around it. This is just industry chatter. Industry chatter is not chiseled in stone. This is not gospel. This is just what partners and companies have as their internal expectations. That is the time frame that they have penciled in for their games, is late May, early June for the Switch 2's release.
Now that's very fascinating. So a June release, a late May to, early to middle of June release, that's pretty interesting, especially when you consider that Summer Game Fest is going on. And, there's also this little other event that might have something to do with Switch 2. But you know what? Before we talk about that event, why don't we focus on the fact that Nate the Hate actually dropped the biggest direct knowledge nugget There is, and he is the direct source on this one.
One piece of information I do have that these reports did not is that I have heard Nintendo is preparing and planning to host an event in May that will be focused on Switch 2. The nature of this event, I do not have specifics on at this moment. If I had to wager a guess, I would say it would be similar to what Nintendo did in January of 2017, where they would be able to invite media, maybe even have a public hands-on demonstration, and that this event will just be that opportunity to have hands-on demos, allow people to touch, play, and experience the Switch 2. And if you look at that May event and then extrapolate time and say, okay, let's say it is replicating what they did in 2017 with the January to March launch. It kind of fits the idea of a June launch.
So a May event. He is hearing, and again, he's the first source to come forward with this, about a May launch style event, a January 2017 style event. At least that's what he's guessing it is. He doesn't know for sure, but clearly some sort of in-person, some sort of something event. Probably for the media. However, this could be happening around the same time. They're starting to do public things as well. Why do we say this? Well, as an example, there's a certain event going on in May that never goes on in May. In fact, it's never gone on in May before. It's usually in April or March. What event is that? Oh, PAX East. PAX East is going on in the month of May. People have been wondering for a long time, why is it in the month of May when they've never done it before? Maybe this is it. Maybe they had conversations with Nintendo, who usually has one of the biggest booths at PAX, and they told them, hey, if you can wait like an extra month or so to do this, we will actually be able to have our system and games there. So that is really cool. That's a possibility, of course, why the timing could be in May. There's also other events happening around these times. Obviously, we talked about Summer Game Fest and how media get to go hands-on at like the summer games of play and stuff like that. But there's also things like the Game Developers Conference. So in the end, this sort of all lines up as a really, really good time period to, basically blow the lid off of Switch 2 and reveal it. Now, if there's this May event, it also lines up again with that prior rumor. We had a rumor about it coming in June, maybe early July at the latest, but they kind of sort of felt like it was the middle of June, which would be right after Summer Game Fest. That's entirely possible. It also could be before Summer Game Fest, and Summer Game Fest just promotes a bunch of games that end up coming to Nintendo Switch 2. So there's a lot of like ins and outs with this, but the bottom line is that Nate the Hate has been fairly reliable over the years. So when we're talking about this, we have to keep in mind that just because he's right a lot over the years doesn't mean that he's always right. As I said, we can point to the fact that he literally said it would be revealed in March of this year, only for a couple days later that not to matter anymore because of an internal delay that at the time that he said that he clearly was not aware of. So his sources seem to be a lot of third-party developers, right? And third-party developers are told things at different rates, but it is interesting that all this chatter and everything he's hearing is literally pointing towards May and June. Now, again, I did reach out to some of my developer friends, and at least at the time of making this video, they haven't got back to me. Maybe Nate the Hate coming forward with this makes them a little scared to talk, and they want to kind of be mum on everything, or maybe they're just busy. It is a work day after all. It is the end of the week. Maybe they're really busy wrapping things up at work. I mean, this is the middle of the day here, so maybe I'll hear some stuff by the end of the night. But it's either going to be confirmation or we don't know anything. So I'm just going to sit back and wait and see what happens. This is quite interesting. I've been saying for a little bit now that I really didn't believe the January to March thing from China. I did mention that, hey, it is possible, and that whole 2-month reveal thing, I want to be hyped. I want to get really, really hyped for a March thing. But I always said the first 6 months, sometime in the first 6 months, probably Q1 made the most sense. And May or June, I'll take either or. I mean, once the thing's revealed, that's really the big deal. But May or June makes a lot of sense. But here's the thing. If you thought we were done with the Nate the Hate news, how about this one more little nugget about what Nintendo is planning for the launch of the system?
I mean, from the production side, some of the chatter I've heard is that Nintendo indeed does want to have anywhere from 6 to 8 million systems ready for their launch period.
So he's hearing this behind the scenes, not based on shipping data or anything else. We had already inferred 6 to 7, million or so Nintendo Switch 2s they would have ready for launch. We just inferred that from shipping data and doing some math and extrapolations based on various release timings, and obviously trying to extrapolate for factories that we didn't know about. What's interesting is that he's hearing from actual like developers and stuff behind the scenes rather than just extrapolating off of the numbers. But see, the numbers and what he's hearing behind the scenes basically match. Nintendo might have, or at least should have, 6 to 8 million Nintendo Switch 2s ready for their launch period. That is insane. No company has ever had that amount of units available. It would be the most in company history. It also means that Nintendo is planning for this to be the fastest selling system of all time. Now, will it keep up that pace long haul? We don't know, but at least at launch, they're planning for this to be the biggest launch ever. And when you hear 6 to 8 million units worldwide, you're now starting to talk that maybe we don't got to worry about scalpers. Or maybe we do because the demand is still just that large. And it also brings in the question, what the hell is that launch game, man? What is that game that's going to drive this demand? Is it just simply a 3D Mario? But they're pairing that 3D Mario with also hyping up the next Mario movie? I don't know, guys. You'll have to let me know what you think about this down in the comments below, because, again, Nate the Hate is one of the more reliable sources out there, and the fact that his rumors are kind of lining up with that June rumor we got from Nintendo the other day, everything's really lining up that this is the most likely time period that it's going to be coming out. Still being revealed this fiscal year, of course. No one's denying that. This sort of event he's talking about is more so like a launch sort of event. It is kind of a, hey, this is the last ditch like thing we're going to host ourselves heading into launch. There's still going to be stuff probably at PAX East. There's going to be stuff, at Summer Game Fest and everything else. Nintendo's probably going to be going all out around this time. And I know Nintendo's never participated in anything Summer Game Fest before. But when I talk about playing the thing at Summer Game Fest, we're talking about like third-party games behind the scenes on the system that's about to come out. That's very likely that Nintendo's going to allow that to happen because it's nothing but free marketing for their console. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Nathaniel Robochance from Nintendo Prime. Go down in the comments below and let me know what you think about all this stuff. I find this just to be amazing, epic, wild, and also, I gotta say, as you can tell, I'm a Milwaukee Bucks fan. They have a big game today against the Boston Celtics. It's the final time that we play them at all this season until at least the playoffs if we meet them. And it is Giannis Antetokounmpo's birthday. Congrats on being 30. You've joined the 3-0 club with me. Thank you so much, Giannis, for everything you've done for the team. And today, Chris Middleton is going to play his first NBA game of the season. So the Celtics killer is back, baby. Let's see what happens. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video.